Mark. How's everybody doing this fine, wonderful Friday morning right now? And it is currently going to be a fantastic weekend, a fantastic day, and a fantastic weekend. There's going to be some beautiful weather coming through here, and you know, the final stretches of winter really haven't passed us yet, but it will pass eventually. I typically say for our area anyways, I don't know where everybody else is when like winter is officially over and stuff, but for me, when I consider winter officially over, it's usually after the second week of April, because usually we get days like this, of course, coming around March, whatnot. March has always been a hit or miss month, really, for us. It's always been one of those, it's always going to be one of those, it's going to be like this, bright, you know, good sunshine, going to be some, you know, high in the 60s, maybe even the 70s, right around there. And then all of a sudden next week it could be fucking rain, you know, freezing rain down, you know, down in the 40s. Heck, it may even snow, who knows, really. So typically I usually say, hey, let's wait until after the second week of April. It's usually when I say after the second week of April is usually when I say anyways. Farmers may say different, but of course they know their trade a little better than me. But what I say is typically after the second week of April, summer or spring is finally here, right? So I'm gonna enjoy this weekend. It's gonna be a fantastic weekend. Got a few things planned, and coming up today, and going through this morning, going through my normal morning workout, doing some workouts and stuff. And I don't know if this has ever happened to some of you folks who work out or you know, exercise on a regular basis and stuff, but you have them days where you're just like, where you just get into like maybe one rep or one set, or you usually get done with one set or something, and you're just like, I really am not feeling it. You know, it's like when you go in there, I mean, you're like, I gotta go work out, but you push it anyways. You know, you just push it, and you're like, all right, I'm just gonna push it and get through this workout and be strong and be happy, yada yada yada, right? But you do your one set, or you do one exercise, or you do two exercises, or whatever, and you're like, I'm just not feeling it today. You know, it's like you're just not motivated. You just don't feel motivated, and you don't, even though you're like trying to lift as heavy as you want to, trying to push past it, you just bloody can't, because it's just a mental break at that point of just like not wanting to do it already, and then your body just follows suit, and it's all mind over body. A good bit of it is mind over body when it comes to, you know what your weights are, you know how much you can lift and how much you can push, and then when you go into those modes, those feelings of I don't feel like it, you definitely see it on your lifts and stuff, and then you start, you know, you don't lift as much as you usually do, and you're like, I'm just not feeling it, you know. Since I'm not feeling it, since I'm not being able to lift as much as I usually do, I might as well just go home, right? We all go through that, and it happens quite frequently. It's not going to be one of those things. I don't take pre-workout or anything like that either, so I don't have like that hyper type energy or anything of that nature. I just try pushing through it, and I was going through it today, and I was on my third exercise actually. It was right after some weighted pull-ups and some Bulgarian split squats, and I was on my dumbbell deadlifts, and I got in my second set, and I'm like, man, this sucks. It's like I'm just not feeling it. You know what I mean? It's like I already did the split squats, I already did some legs today, I already did a little bit of back today. Why in the hell am I doing this? You know, that sort of deal. And I'm like, and in my head, I'm like, man, this just really sucks. I don't feel like doing this anymore. And I kept just like pondering, like, do I really want to keep doing this? And, you know, I just kept forcing myself to pick up the weights and trying to do as many as I can. And eventually it got to a point where I was like, okay, because I have that mental break right now, I'm not going to be able to lift heavy. So let's drop it down. So I told myself, all right, let's just drop it down and just keep an eye on my form, make sure my form's good, you know, practice my form, you know, reiterate what a good form looks like, because sometimes when you guys are doing the heavy lifting and stuff like that, and you start hitting plateaus and everything, you're like, you have no idea why and everything. And sometimes it's mainly because your form is bad. Right at the end, your form is bad. And number one, a lot of injuries come from bad form, especially when you're weightlifting, heavy weights, etc., etc. A lot of injuries just come from bad form. It doesn't even come from the heavy weight. It just usually comes from bad form. So every now and then, when I'm starting a new workout regimen, or I feel as though if I'm plateauing too soon before my 6-week change up, I go back to the original. I drop some weight, and I look at myself in the mirror. I ask people around me, it's like, hey, does this look right to you? Things of that nature. I check my form to make sure everything's all right. So, needless to say, what I'm trying to get at is that we all go through these humps like that, okay? We all go through these ups and downs of wanting to work out, getting started workout, and we're like, fuck this. I can tell you it happens quite frequently to me. But this time I did something a little different, right? This time I did something a little different than what I would typically do. I typically, do a few reps of that heavy weight and then fucking leave. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I would be like, okay, I've done enough for today. I don't want to finish up the rest of my workout. I just want to call it because I'm just not feeling it. Like I said, when I feel as though I was plateauing and stuff, I was like, I need to, go back and check my form, make sure my form is really good, because usually with the heavy weights you're just feeling bad. This time I applied that to that no motivation, right? To that zero motivation. So I got done with my second set, and I was like, okay, usually I move up 5 pounds from that, right? And then 5 pounds up for that for 4 total sets, right? But this time I was like, all right, let's not move up. Let's actually go down 10 pounds and check my form real good. Let's do the what I would do, a normal amount of reps, maybe add a few more reps to it, and just check my form just to keep everything the same. So that way I'm not just getting up leaving for silly willy-nilly. I'm actually, sticking around and trying to push myself and trying to work out, trying to keep the regimen going. And yeah, when I held the lower weights and stuff, my body suddenly started to relax a little more, like as though if it was getting ready to work out, like truly work out, And it may be because of the light weights and stuff, but I suddenly felt like a small little break happened in this mental aspect of where it says don't want to do it, to okay, we could do some. It wasn't like full bore 100% like when you're feeling it, but it was still enough to say, all right, I can still keep going, right? It was just enough. So I started doing that lower weight and everything. I started just like checking it out, checking my form in the mirror and stuff. Next thing I know, I'm well past my normal rep range. All right, so I put the weights back down, and my legs are still feeling it because hell, if you do them right, especially as slow as I was doing them for the form check and stuff, taking my time doing it, you're gonna feel a little bit of exercise even if you are going down a weight. And the reason why I'm saying this is that we all go through this, and I've heard different people try different kinds of methods of pushing through their plateaus, pushing through their things of that nature, and trying to, well, not just pushing through the plateaus, but pushing through that no motivation spike, and just like trying to make it through and trying to just push it, And some people do it, and I've always tried just like pushing just straight through, just keep doing my forward progression on the weights and everything, and just push it. Eventually there'll be a break. And I heard this does work for some people, where they refine that motivation after they lift a heavy set a few times, or they get pissed off because they feel as if they can't lift and they lift even more. That works for a lot of people. I tried that. It did not work. So far it hasn't worked for me, but doing the backwards so I can go forward worked for me, surprisingly. I was just sitting there thinking about it while sitting on the bench, like contemplating, why the fuck am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And then it suddenly occurred to me, it's like, usually when I plateau, I usually go back down some weights before a plateau before my allotted 6 weeks. I usually just go back down some weights just to make sure my form is correct, make sure everything's correct. Why not just me do it even if I'm not feeling motivation? I know I can lift more. I know I can lift more, but there's like a psychological break in my mind saying I don't want to lift more. I've got to want to lift, right? It is the key. I want to lift. If my mind already knows I can already do it, so why do I want to do some more, right? So I was like, all right, let's just go back, see if I can just trick my mind, or trick my body, or trick my mind so that my body can start getting a little bit of work in. And it surprisingly worked very well. Now, I didn't move forward with weight after that. All right, I stuck with the same weight for 2 more sets. Why? Because I didn't want to. One, I didn't want to like suddenly fall back into it by getting a heavier weight, and 2, I noticed that my form was actually a little bad towards the end of my deadlift, right? Towards that last bit of the deadlift, I noticed my form was bad, and I wanted to make sure, because like I said, injuries happen from bad technique and bad form. So I wanted to make 100% sure that I could at least do correct form for at least 2 sets of rounds. And thank God I did, because I was able, in my mind, I was able to push out more, and my form, in my opinion, I think my form looked a lot better. I was like, all right, it looks good. Your back's no longer, it doesn't look bad. Form wasn't bad to begin with, but there were some nuances that I could have gone back and just notice some changes, because when you're lifting get up into heavier weights, you don't even notice that your form may be shot to shit, because you're so focused on trying to just get the damn weight up. And that's where a lot of injuries happen, right? So going backwards to find more motivation to go forward surprisingly worked out well for me. That really worked out well for me. It kept me, and it also just kept me motivated to still finish the rest of my workout. It was just a weird little experiment I did that seemed to actually have worked pretty well for me, for me anyways. So I don't know. It just seemed to go. It just seemed to, even though, because I'll be honest with you, I hate doing legs, but I gotta do them anyways. And the way my workouts are set up, I do an A-B type workout. 1 week I'd only do the heavy lifting weights 3 times a week. So I do A, Monday or Friday, and then B on a Wednesday, and then the next week I'll do B twice a week. So this week I did legs twice this week, and let me tell you, I can feel it. So I don't really like legs to begin with. I already have that bad fucking psychological hurt inside my brain of fuck it's legs. But just being able to push through it and just like realize, hey, you can do this, Mac. You can do this. Just keep going. If you're not feeling motivated to lift your heavy weights, go back down some weight. Make sure your form's right. Make sure you're doing everything you possibly can to grow. Because to be honest with you, some of you guys out there are wanting to be the guy who lifts the most weight. It's not going to happen. Some of you guys maybe, yeah, but here's the thing. I weigh about 175, 170, right around that range, right? There's no way in hell I'm going to be able to outlive somebody who does the same type of workout if they weigh 220. There's just no way in hell, all right? Or if somebody, it's all based off body structure and skeletal structure, and it doesn't matter. I'm sorry, but somebody as tall as me, weighing 30 more pounds than me, doing the same workout as me, is going to be able to lift more regardless of how much I try lifting. And I fully accept that. I'm fully prepared for that, What the key is to finding a workout that works best for you, what your goals are, what's sustainable, and sticking with it, okay? I know what works. I've been doing it since I was 16. I'm about to be 28. And I know what works. I feel as though I know what works best for me, and I know which ways to push my body, which things I can introduce, which things I can change. It is a little bit hot, guys. Sorry. I don't know why it's so hot, but I know what works best for me and what, let's do this real quick. And every now and then you gotta get some fresh air inside your vehicle, right? But I know what works best for me, and I know exactly how to push my body, and I know the limits of my body pretty well, too. So, and yeah, I mean, I fall into that slump of, I don't want to do this, you know? I get to the gym, I mean, don't get me wrong, I fall into the slumps of not wanting to go to the gym to begin with sometimes, but once I'm there, I'm like, okay, I gotta do this, And then when you hit the double whammy of, I don't want to go to the gym, and then you get through a few reps, a few sets, and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. That's a bitch to try pushing yourself and try going forward and try getting forward progression. Let me tell you, you got to figure out what could, you know, while you're doing it, what ways could you re-motivate yourself to keep it up, because it is always one day at a time. And yes, you need to listen to your body. If your body cannot physically do it, then don't do it. Okay, if your body can't physically keep up with the strain and demand, your body is going to break down, and your body's going to tell you if it can't do it. However, if it's your mind telling you you can't do it, the biggest enemy is your fucking self, and that is the biggest enemy you will face in every aspect of life. All right, is yourself. Your biggest enemy is always going to be yourself. All right, so you just got to find a way to push through it. You got to find a way to say, hey. You gotta find a way to say, hey, find out like a weird type balance is like your mind over matter, right? Is what they say typically. Sometimes it's body over mind. You gotta force your body to do things so that way it tricks your mind, saying, I got this. I can actually do this, you know? Because your mind's gonna overpower what you can do in your body 100, I'd say 99%. You got to find that 1% way of making your body overpower your mind. And it's a weird thing to say it like that, because obviously you got intellectuals. It's like, you're the biggest, the pen is mightier than the sword, or whatever, you know, that sort of deal. But when you're in the gym, when you're working out, when you're trying to move your body and stuff, it's your body that's bigger than your mind. It's your body that's mightier than your mind, and you need to realize that when you're going in. That is a weird way of putting a way of motivating yourself. That is a weird way. I have no idea where the hell that tangent was starting to go to. Anyways, that's all I really wanted to talk about. It's like it's very weird how even after almost 12 years of weightlifting and working out and stuff like that, how I discovered a new way of re-motivating myself while working out. And it seemed to work pretty well, because I still feel good burn. I still feel good. I still got a good sweat from it, and I still feel as though if I got a little stronger from it. So that's always the goal of working out, is getting stronger every little time, right? So if you guys would, you know, give me a good little bit of like, a comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. And as always, work hard. Peace.